بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Today, while I was wandering in the Isle of Wight, a person told me about there was a masjid and a mosque in this place which is called Newport. And alhamdulillah, I managed to get to the masjid and I met some of the brothers. One of the brothers that's really captured my attention, and I would like you to meet this brother. He is called Brother Abdul Malik. You could see, mashallah, from the way that he looks. He's a white person, blonde person, mashallah. But there is something very sort of fascinating about the brother. And he didn't mind me recording him, that he comes from a background which I would like Abdul Malik to talk about. So, go ahead, Abdul Malik, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ana ismi Abdul Malik Jamal Khanif. I came to Islam, inshallah, 24 years ago. Before this, I was a heavy metal punk musician. I grew up, had a good education, but I was rebellious. I was like a human version of Iblis in the way that I rebelled. I would not bend my neck to anything. I questioned everything I was taught. I questioned history. I questioned that there was history and there is his story. There are truth and there are lies. And I rebelled against the British way of everything. I never drunk, I never did these things, but I thought I will rebel against the system, against the governments that I think are unfair. I will do it through music. Alhamdulillah. So I did music that criticized the government, criticized the society I lived in, thinking this would also make me happy. Happiness doesn't come from the outside, happiness comes from within. And now know happiness as water, as life itself comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the time I thought I could make myself happy through the music. I thought following my own ideas and the ideas of others would make Islam, would make my life complete. So what did I do? I played loud music and I deafened a generation. I am tattooed and I was pierced, and way before all the people were doing this thing. Now it is commonplace. Then 20 odd years ago it was unusual and it was very uncommon. You can see by the holes in my ears. They are not from fighting in Afghanistan, astaghfirullah. Unfortunately they are from my own stupidity. But we did these things and we live with the consequences.
Would you like to show me a bit of your chest? I could see some tattoos in your neck.
Oh, this would be difficult. But if I say that the tattoos goes from here right the way across and down.
No problem, there's no aura there, isn't anyway, so you could just show me your neck a bit.
Oh.
That's all.
Wow.
MashaAllah. I understand that you were half Irish, and that the father side, subhanAllah. Let me just take a... Subhanallah, la ilaha illallah. You could imagine what a person he was when he was at that time. Now at the moment I just said to the brother that he had some light in his face because of the light of the hidayah, the nur of the Islam, the guidance. Yeah. Or the darkness of that heavy metal, what he said, it was satanic way, wasn't it? And
yes, I would say it was. I would also say that it was done through anger for various reasons. Anger at society, anger at things that I didn't understand, anger at that there must be more in life than just property, money and health and wealth. These things are, everybody says this is the meaning of life. I've always thought there was a God and I always asked where he was. I looked at every ism. I had a good university education, but I argued against everything. And at the end of the day, I looked at Christianity, and they were saying about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a son, and I could not accept this. For if Allah needed a son, that would mean he has a weakness. He is in need of an heir. If you have a son, you're going to die, he takes over. Why do you need this if he's all sustaining and all powerful? So this did not make sense. I looked at the Hinduism, and they worshipping the statues. And I said to one, if I break your statue, with your statue come and hurt me? I didn't even know about Islam. And he said, it would be a terrible thing. So if I throw your statue on the floor, it will kill me. I thought this is ridiculous. It is a nonsense. I looked at Jewish religion. I thought, well, I can't be this because this is not just a religion, it's a race as well. And I'm not of that race. So how can I join something I'm not a part of the club? It didn't make sense either. I thought God created everything, not just one people. I looked at all these different philosophies: Marxism, ism, schism and ism. And at the end of the day, all they are is man-made, manufactured, made by man for man's ego. And this I did not understand. a long time ago now, subhanahu wa ta'ala, I was walking along Kensington High Street, and a brother had a leaflet, and he was doing a very early version of dawah. There was no dawah 20 odd years ago. There was very few Muslim reverts. I don't like the word convert. Convert is to change. To revert is to go back. I have gone back to what my natural inclination should have been in the first place. There is no room for a convert. So I took the leaflet and I saw the word Islam, and I thought, what is this thing? Whenever I was very little, my grandmother, because I grew up with my grandparents, took me to Hyde Park, and I used to see Arabic graffiti on the wall, and I used to like the script. I used to like and I used to wish I could understand what it said. Somewhere deep down inside, that must have stayed with me, because when I got this leaflet and it said Islam on it, I wanted to check this out. Then there were very few books on Islam. I found one, and it was Ghulam Salwa's Belief and Teaching in Islam. In its first edition, it's now in its 9th or so edition. It was very primitively, a primitive edition then. And I read it, and alhamdulillah, I saw the script again, and I thought, so it's this religion that has the script that spoke to me from a young child. That I thought, what is this thing? I was good at art, and I thought the script was beautiful, and of all scripts, it is the most beautiful in the world. And I looked at this thing, and I read, and then I read one thing. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
They weren't expecting that, mashallah, from you. The way you sound, mashallah. Mashallah, tabarakallah, tabarakallah.
This changed my life.
Yeah, subhanallah. And you know the meaning of it, mashallah.
To say that Allah is one.
Yes.
To say that anything that has a creator is a creation has to have a creator. You don't have multiple creators for something. If you have an architect, you have multiple architects. They all have infighting. They all fall apart. Excellent. You have to have unity, ikhlas.
That's right.
To say Allah is one, the absolute. He has to be absolute. If there's not absolution, if there's not completeness, then he is partial. If he is partial, he is not the Lord of all. So he cannot be the Lord Creator. He begets none. Of course, we are his creation, separate from him, intact as a creation, but separate in our creation. He doesn't need a son, he doesn't need daughters, wives, or all the clutter that we have on earth. And nor is he begotten. How can he be made of people or of something else? If something created him, that must be more powerful, therefore that must be Allah.
So that had an impact on you.
And like unto him, there is nothing. This is what had the impact.
Right.
Because to say, unlike unto him, in the whole universe,
nothing.
In the whole of everything, we can only see as far as our galaxy. With the Hubble telescope, we can see Crab Nebula and whatever. This is as far as we can go. Now, beyond that, how many universes are there? And beyond that, how many universes are there? And the 7 heavens, etc., etc. If there is nothing within the light years and thousands of millions of light years, there is nothing equal to him, and there is nothing like him, then he is Lord of all. And if he is Lord of all, then what am I doing standing on my feet? I must be on my face. Because he put me here, therefore it should be gratitude. How
did you embrace the show? I'm going to have just to cut it short because of the 10 minutes going to finish.
Very quickly.
How did you when you took the shahada, did you go to a masjid or?
There was nobody around to ask. I didn't want to ask a lot of the brothers in the street because there was people walking around. Then there was no converse, there was no literature of Islam, there was no little dawah tables out with the take a leaflet brother, there was nothing. So I thought,
you're complaining about this, aren't you, at the moment? You're saying you should have had that.
I should have had that.
Yes.
It shouldn't have been partialised to a community. You should
right.
not ghettoise Islam.
That's right.
You can't put a box around Allah. It is either Allah is everywhere, or you as a people are putting him in a box.
Allah with his knowledge is everywhere.
No.
Yeah, not with himself. Himself
not
is
with his knowledge, with his ilm and with his hikmah.
Excellent. You're talking about religion. You can't box religion, Islam, and it's a box. It has to be for everybody.
Humans put boundaries. There is no boundaries.
There's no boundaries, of course.
And so therefore, when I looked at this thing, I thought, where am I going to go? So I looked through the phone book. Yes, in those days there were phone books. There was not 1-to-1 or 11800. So I looked through there and I saw London Central Mosque.
Right, Regent's Park.
And I thought, okay,
I'll go there.
And I looking like I did, and I wish I had a photo of me as I did. I did a talk last week, I had the photo of what I used to look like.
And going with this sort of look, and remember you had no beard.
No, I had nothing, I had bright blue hair. You know, and you know, long hair, earrings, tattoos, vest.
And you expect everybody to just welcome you to embrace Islam.
Belt made of bullets. You know.
So what happened when they saw you?
I went in there, I took the bullet belt off because I thought it might be a bit disquieting, you know. And I tried to tie my hair back as best as possible. And I said, I want to make shahada. And they said, they were surprised. They couldn't
believe it. They were baffled.
And he just looked at me as if I was going to hurt him. I said, can you bring me somebody who can speak English? So he brought me Abdullah from who was the secretary of the London Mosque then.
The one from Saudi Arabia, isn't he?
No, he's from Musab, Egypt.
Oh, right, in Israel.
And he said, you know, what do you understand about Islam? So I told him all I have read. And I'm an avid reader, so I read and read. And I read...
so he was surprised?
He was surprised then. And he said, okay, I think you understand, but you know you can't look like you do. I said, I don't want to look like I do, it's just that's all I have at the moment. I can change that, but I need to change my heart first.
That's right, very good.
And
you took it from there?
I took my shahada.
When was that? When the day, please, if you remember the date, year?
1986,
MashaAllah.
February the 4th.
Right. Abdul Malik, I have to really at the moment just to, well, sort of stop you here and I'd say to you, Jazakallah khairan for this commentary and this, you know, sort of short biography of your life. I would have liked it to be a bit longer, but remember that we have to go at the moment. I've got a family. I'm in the Isle of Wight today, and I'm really sort of very happy to meet the brothers here, especially yourself. And definitely, inshallah, maybe we'll have a go at, we'll see each other tonight as well. Maybe
As one final thing.
Go on.
This is quite an interesting little twist. Cat Stevens, who also became Muslim at that time, I was named after one of his songs with my original name. My original name was Matthew. I was named after Cat Stevens' song, and I ended up teaching with him at Regent's Park. He taught the adults, I taught the children. When I learnt to write Arabic, I was teaching the Arabic to the small children. So how things come around, Allah has a wonderful plan, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.